to the point, a lot of people are really worried right now. A lot of people are anticipating a crash. That's what obviously it's what you keep hearing in the news. Obviously, we're in a scenario where we're looking at a recession potentially. Overall, what are your expectations between now and the end of the year in the housing market? Maybe if you want to talk about Austin or just the market in general, because Austin's definitely seeing where we went from the beginning of the year about 1,800. I remember me and Ian were sitting here going 1,800 homes on the market. This is stupid. How is this even working? And now we're at about 8,000, 7,900 is what I saw today. So what is your overall overall assessment of what's going to happen here in the future based on a lot of the stats that you've looked and showed us here?
Well, nationally, I do think that mortgage rates are I think inflation is going to ease down a little bit. I think mortgage rates are going to ease down a little bit. I think the market's going to probably continue to cool gradually, but not dramatically. And I don't see any crash of any sort at all. Now, we have some markets where we've had really high appreciation, and I think they will level off. I think that demand will slow down, so consequently prices will slow down. But I don't see any crash at all. I don't. And, I think it goes back to one of the reasons I showed that slide on moving, and I showed the slide on FICO scores and how healthy the market is. If you don't have to sell, do you sell? No. You don't sell at a discount, crashes are caused by foreclosures and people having to dump houses or people not being able to afford to make their payments. I don't see any of that happening unless we went into a dramatic recession. Something that's off the charts. You look at our economy right now, American businesses have more capital than they've ever had, ever. They are better capitalized right now than they have ever been. And that is because they had significant time with very low interest rates. A lot of them floated more stock or borrowed money, floated bonds. So American businesses are in position A. American consumers in very good shape. I showed you the slides earlier on the American consumer, the percentage of their take-home pay that they were using for debt and their income. So basically, our economy is, in terms of both businesses and consumers, in very, very good shape. Will we see a recession? I would probably bet that sometime next year we'll have a short, modest recession. And that is because the global economy is slowing down. And as I said earlier, we're a global economy. So we will have some issues with that. I don't see a real problem, and I don't see a crash in the housing market. I do see prices leveling off. I see prices leveling off fairly soon and staying fairly flat for a while at the 3 to 5% range.
So, if you're looking at the comments in the chat, a lot of people are saying, this guy's famous last words, I don't see a crash. We're in a dramatic recession, Mr. Stone. What was the other one I saw here?
Would you please let me say a comment real quick? You want a dramatic recession? Go back to the 1980s. That was a dramatic recession, and if you lived through that, then you know what a dramatic recession is. The Great Recession in 2010 was significant, and it was painful, but we got through it. And that was built. We were living in a house of cards then, right? We are not in a house of cards right now. We are in a very strong financial situation. The global economy could create a problem for us. If the Ukraine war goes on or escalates, that's a problem. If it doesn't, or if it just winds down, then I think we will recover.
So how much impact does higher rates have to discouraging sellers selling? And is it a factor to keep home prices stable?
Well, historically, there's been very little correlation between rates and prices. But what it does impact is the amount of transactions. So if rates go up, then transactions slow down. And I'm not overly worried about that. If you really look historically, our rates are still not that high. People are talking about rates are really high. My first home I bought at the current rate back in the early 70s. So I mean, this is historically this isn't that high.
So, you know, what's interesting, you know, as you're talking, a lot of people seem really concerned with what's happening just in the market, right? I
Yeah.
think the media is feeding a lot of panic, right? You have a lot of people just out there I mean, you have full YouTube channels out there basically just saying the market's going to crash. Um, so Smart Think has a comment here, says 8% inflation, car market crashing, gas prices soaring and going much higher. I think a lot of people are worried about a lot of these things. And so they're automatically assuming that we're going to see something really negative happen. What would you say to maybe ease people's minds that are so worried and worked up about what's happening in the market?
Well, I don't think gas prices will go up from here. The car market hasn't crashed. I mean, you still can't even buy a car, and you buy one and you get what you get, right? Because the demand still exceeds the supply, so it hasn't crashed. It's gotten difficult, right? So um, I think things will. I don't think things can get much tighter in terms of supply and demand, and I don't see. I don't see unless there is some other event occurs, things will get better from here. I mean, one of the, and I get so frustrated because one of the things that's happened. Can I get a little bit off track here for a second?
Sure, please.
All right. So we used to have the Fairness Act in this country, and the Fairness Act required all media sources to report all sides of every issue and to state when they are voicing an opinion. They had to say, and this is an opinion. We got rid of that in 1987. So consequently, what you have now is the media competing with each other to get your attention. Now, how do they do that? By scaring you, by beating the drum on everything's going to hell in a handbasket. The reality is, if you take the time and effort to look at things, yes, it's concerning. It's disconcerting because there's so much uncertainty and so many things that we don't know could happen. But if you look at the underlying financial health of this country, it is still very good. Corporations have a lot of money. People still have, on a whole, judging the whole society, have money and are not too far in debt. Will housing prices continue to go up at this